Hi guys, so welcome back to this channel. This is Awesome Living with Nange, a place where we share ideas on how to be a better lover, a better friend, a better employee, and a better person for yourself. So you know it already. It is all about personal development. It is all about friendship. It is all about love. It's all about lifestyle and everything that makes you a better person. So if you are interested, thank you for subscribing and let's get straight into the video of today. Today, we are going to talk about not so obvious dating rules that will completely change your relationship or completely change your dating style. Some of the rules that I'm going to give are going to be a little bit controversial. The first game changer rule is do not give what you're not ready to lose. Do not give what you're not ready to lose. I know this sounds selfish, and in your head, you'll be telling me, but Nangia, love is supposed to be sacrificial. If I don't give what I'm not supposed to lose, then how is it love in any way? Hold on, I'm going to explain to you why. Now, listen to this. A friend of mine told me a story about this guy that is his friend. He's a bike rider and he sponsored this girl through her university studies. He paid for the house rent, he pays for her tuition, he took care of her feeding. Now, this girl is out of school. She's now a nurse and has started working this year. But unfortunately for this guy, another guy from the States, from the United States of America, just came back to the country and he's interested in this girl. Rumors are that he wants to get married to this girl so they can go to America. Now, the girl involved in this situation says it is the mom who is forcing her to get married to this other guy because she thinks it is the best option for her and that it will better her life and that of the family. Now, the other guy who was a bike rider, who is a bike rider, with all the sacrifices he was making, paying her, going through nursing school is not cheap, right? It is expensive and it is quite a fortune for someone who is a bike rider. That's a lot of sacrifice. Now, this guy being so heartbroken and being so devastated, I would say this guy, if need is not taken, this guy will go into the state of depression. He sold everything that he had. He sold the bike that he had. He sold his few belongings and stuff, and he relocated to another town where his mother is. Now he's going to stay there with his mother. So he will not have to think about everything, and the pain will not be as much as if he was alone. This is where do not give what you're not ready to lose comes in. I know by now in your head you'll be saying the girl is wicked, the mom is wicked, blah, blah. But let's learn a lesson from this story. I bet you must have heard stories like this. I bet you must have heard people or you know people who have gone through such situations. Now, how are we learning from it? When this my friend explained the story to me, the first thing I asked him is, why did he not get married to this girl? If he was investing this much into this girl, why did he not just get married to her? Because it would be a different ball game if you're spending that much in your wife, right? But you're still dating and you're spending this much. Are you ready to easily let go? Because when the pain comes, remember that we all are selfish. We are selfish beings in nature. We will first think about ourselves and what is good for us before we can even think of another person. It is just normal for the girl's mom to think that if her daughter gets married to this guy who is from the States, her life is going to be better. And so that's the best option for her. Now, if you are in a relationship with someone and you know that there are things that you are not ready to lose, that you will not easily let go, in case the relationship goes south, do not sacrifice that much. If it is marriage, then it is understandable. And no, I'm not talking about money only. I'm not talking about finances only. I'm talking about sacrifices with your time, with a level of emotional investment, sacrifices with your acts of service, any sort of sacrifice, right? Anything that you are giving should be something that you are ready to lose. So you see, this guy was obviously giving what he was not ready to lose. When I first heard the story, I asked my friend, why did this guy not go to school himself? Why did he not invest in himself as well? Because we all are selfish beings, whether we acknowledge it or not. We are going to think about our interests first before we think about the interests of another person. Naturally, that's a natural instinct. So instead of spending such a fortune on someone who is not yet your wife or who is not yet your husband, what about you spend what you can comfortably be ready to lose, comfortably be ready to let go without having your life being crumbled if they go? You know how they say, do not lend money you're not ready to lose, right? Especially to your friends, because you will either lose the friendship or you lose the money. This is the same thing here. So before you go around doing all the sacrifices that you are not even making for yourself, before you go taking commitments that will leave you resentful or heartbroken or depressed if the relationship happens to break, remember this: do not give what you are not ready to lose. This doesn't have to be material things. This doesn't have to be about finances only. I'm talking about even your time. I'm talking about acts of service. Let me give you an example. I am a career woman. My weeks are so busy that my weekends are like treasure. I treasure my weekends so much. And sometimes I have only Sundays to rest. Now, if I have to go through the week working and then my weekends I have it for myself to take care of my home, to really, dry clean, do laundry, arrange the house, take care of everything, right? If I have to leave my house on weekend instead of doing all of those things there and go up to my boyfriend's place and start cooking and start cleaning and start doing all the stuff that I have little time to do with myself at my own place, you would see that I am sacrificing something I am not ready to lose. Now, is cooking, cleaning, laundry, doing the necessary stuff a bad thing? No, it is just that if I'm to do that to someone, it means I will have to place that person's needs above mine. Now, that's a level of sacrifice that will be so heavy on me if that relationship happens to break. So, sacrificing do not necessarily always have to be about money. No, it's not always about money, finances, or material things. This takes us to the second golden rule, which is do not tolerate what you cannot take for a long time. Imagine you're that career woman who is a workaholic. You love your job, you love doing things out there, and you are not in a position at the moment to employ someone that will help you with the chores at home. Now, it is difficult enough for you to do your own chores. You really need to be intentional about creating time to do your own chores. And now you start dating someone, and in the beginning, he makes it clear to you that he wants the type of lady that would always come and clean at his place, take care of his home while you're still dating. I'm not talking about marriage. And now, because you're afraid to not lose him, you start doing these things. You start sacrificing, the time you're even supposed to be resting, you're off at his place cleaning, cooking, doing the house chores and everything. Now, it gets you exhausted to an extent where you feel like, this is not it. I cannot continue to do this anymore. Now, it will be difficult for you to readjust or have that conversation with him because he made it clear in the beginning that is what he wanted. You, on the other hand, knowing that your schedule, knowing that your lifestyle will not permit you to accommodate or to do those things that he wants you to do, you said yes, notwithstanding, knowing fully well that this is something you cannot do for a long run. Now, it might not only be about acts of service, but it could also be something like respect or disrespect. If you cannot take disrespect, I don't know anyone who wants to be taking disrespect, but it's okay. If disrespect is a big deal for you, do not tolerate disrespect at any level of the relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone, if you're dating someone and you realize that this person has the tendency of always being disrespectful, maybe when we have conflict, maybe we have disagreements, then you should call them out as soon as possible. Do not tolerate them and think that they are going to change with time, or get married to them and think that, okay, because I've gotten married to this person who has always been disrespectful, who has always been emotionally abusive, he is automatically going to change. No, it doesn't work like that. So do not tolerate things that you're not ready to take in the long run. If something makes you uncomfortable, if something makes you want to break your values, tell him or her that, okay, this is what I would not take. This is what I would not like in the relationship. All right. This leads us to the third golden rule, which is talk, don't sulk. If you tell your partner, this is, babe, I don't like this thing, all right? I don't like it when you come back home late. I don't like it when you keep me waiting. These are the things that I like, and these are the things that I do not like. And he happens to break one of them, or he happens to make a mistake, because we all do make mistakes. What you should do is to talk to him. Let him know, babe, I don't like this. I don't like it when you talk to me like that. I feel hurt when you talk to me like that. I feel hurt When you keep me waiting, you should try being on time next time. Let them know how you feel when they do what they do to you. Do not sulk. Your partner cannot read minds. And if you really want a relationship that will grow, a relationship that you and your partner will enjoy, then communication is one of the biggest things you really need to work on. Because without communication, no matter how good you are or good your partner is, you will not appreciate it because you do not talk. And because you do not talk, their little mistakes, the little errors that they do in the relationship become so big, you know, all because you do not talk or you do not communicate effectively. When your partner does something to you that is painful, hurts your feelings, let them know and let them know immediately or as soon as possible. If you do not tell them, how will they know if they've wronged you? If you do not tell them, how will they change if they are not aware? So you see, it is important for you to talk and not to sulk, especially to my ladies. Talk. You need to agree with your partner that if you happen to successfully go through the dating stage and then you get into marriage, then there is no way out. Divorce is not an option. Agree that within the dating stage, if any of you, whether be it the boy or the girl, if anyone is to get tired and wants to leave the relationship, okay, you just communicate it, make it known, give your reasons, and you know, we let it go. But if it happens to get into marriage, there is no backing out. You're tired, you rest, you continue tomorrow. So you need to agree with your partner that if this relationship gets into forever ever after stage, we are doing everything possible within our power to make it work. Divorce will not be an option except for cases of life threatening cases like domestic abuse or violence. You will work to make the relationship work. If you get into a house where there are no doors, there are no windows, and there is a fire inside, what would you do? You would fight to put off that fire because you know that if you don't put out that fire, it's going to burn and consume you. Now, if you get into a room or into a house full of doors and you leave the doors and the windows open, the moment there is a fire, your first instinct is to run out. That is how you should view your marriage. And that is how you and your partner should agree on viewing marriage as a house or a room without doors and without windows. If there is a fire, babe, we are quenching this fire because I am not ready to die. And if you die, I will kill you. Right? So, what I'm saying is that you should close the doors and the windows of your relationship so that you will concentrate more on quenching the fire and not on running out of the marriage. So, just a quick recap, the first rule is do not give what you are not ready to lose. This is not promoting selfishness. It is about being intentional when you're doing anything or taking any decision in the relationship. The second rule is do not tolerate what you cannot take for long or for a long time. If you do not like it, make it known. Do not accept it in the beginning and only to start complaining in the long run. Okay? Say no at the beginning. The third most important rule for you to do is to talk. Don't sulk. Your partner is not a magician. He or she cannot read minds, especially to my ladies. The fourth rule is fight to agree and not to disagree. When there is a problem, you are addressing the problem. You are trying to find solutions for the problem that is for the best interest of everyone in the relationship and not fighting or trying to win the argument. The last bonus is agree to walk out of the relationship when you are dating at any time if you feel the relationship is not fulfilling or it is not enough or it is not what you want. But agree not to walk out of the relationship when you get married. Agree that you're going to close the doors and the windows of the marriage so that if there is a fire inside, you will quench it out instead of running away. That is it for today. We have come to the end of this video, and I hope that it helped you in some way. I hope that it gave you maybe just a little bit of clarity in one aspect of your life. And if you did, please leave a thumbs up, please subscribe and share and do all the fun stuff, right? And I'll see you next week. Remember, this is Awesome Living with Nange, and this is a place where we talk about love. I love love. Talk about relationships. We talk about lifestyle. We talk about personal development. I like that one too. And we talk about everything that makes life worthwhile. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. See you next week.